Hey guys, welcome back to Diving Deep in Thought. You're here with Elias, and today I want to talk to you guys about a quote that I read a few days ago by Mark Twain. So usually I read quotes and they just bounce off me or escape me like a water off a duck's back, but this one just really resonated with me. It's really profound, and I'll share it with you right now, and then I'll dive deep into thought with it. So the quote is, the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. So, and these two reasons, I believe, aren't necessarily things that we decide to happen. Life doesn't happen to us. It happens for us. So when you are born, you don't decide to be who you want to be. You don't decide to be that tall, this ethnicity, this religion, this intelligent, this beautiful. You're all very, very beautiful. So these are all things you don't decide to be. So then, why do we take credit for it? Why do we take so much credit for something that we don't even decide to be? Have you ever thought that? Have you ever thought who is actually entitled to look beautiful, who isn't? Who is entitled to be tall and whoever is short is inferior? Did we get this from an evolutionary point of view? Is value in the physical part, the spiritual part, the emotional part, the mental part? Where do we draw the line? If you're born into a community of all geniuses, does that make you a fool, but you're still above the average IQ? Or if you were born into a family of sports players and you didn't really cut it, does that make you any more invalid? Well, so it's community-based. So we create these societies, we label people based on society. We need to have societies. I completely agree with that. But I don't believe that when we draw the line, the people underneath it are discarded completely or are less than someone else. Because those people will just have to go to another community and then they'll be respected and they'll have some sense of power relative to the community that they were isolated from. So it's really important to respect everyone for who they really are. That's what I'm trying to say. Because we did not choose to be who we are. So the power in itself is not in us. It is to something else. Now we decide to take on this power personally to make us feel a bit better on the inside. But overall, are you really happier? Are you happier when you call that kid fat? Are you happier when you call that person a color based on their race? Are you happier when you push people down, you tell them they can't make it? Does that really make you feel good? These are really important things, because who are you really? Are you any better than the person you're criticizing by being like that? And what if you judge someone based on their ethnicity and you realize that the surgeon that was operating on your child, doing heart surgery, was that particular ethnicity? Would you still swear at them? What if your favorite food was from a culture that wasn't your own? So these are things we have to take in mind and understand that when you say something, you really back it and you really want to help others. You really want to spread that positivity, because if you are truly a good person with integrity, you don't go around bringing other people down or making other people fit your particular perspective. Because if everyone was like you, what type of world would it be? Would it be a beautiful world? Would there be certain foods that don't get eaten? Would there be certain places that would be overpacked? Would there be certain businesses that would be out of business? Would there really be the creativity, the abundance, the vibrancy of the world as it is today? Look at all the designs, the art, the richness in the music, culture, fashion, cars. Where would we get this from if we kept blocking our walls, putting up walls and not allowing people to live out their true potential? Art comes from the truest version of who you are. It resonates with something greater than us. And true art moves people. Not every person gets moved the same way, but they look at art and they see history, they see passion, they see emotion, they see an era, they see a symbolism of something greater than who we truly are. So it's really important to give everything a chance. You don't know what's going to come out of that thing. You're really cutting your lessons short when you judge something before you experience it. It's really important to experience everything. A true, strong character experiences everything and takes from it the good things to empower themselves, They don't limit the perspective of the way they view things in a way that only allows them to see what they want to see, because then you'll never truly grow. You're always looking into the world with these spectacles of fitting a square in a square. You'll never really see what other shapes have to offer, and you'll become this rigid personality that doesn't necessarily explore anything greater than themselves. And there's people who are content with that. That's okay, but you won't have that level of respect for the greater community. You'll isolate yourself, and down the line, because obviously we traverse through life at different stages. We're infants, then we become children, teenagers, we become adults, then we become slightly older. Obviously, we become retired people, old people. So we traverse through these different stages. And in order to traverse through these different stages and explore the richness of each age and culture and what our physical parameters can offer us. When you're young, you're vibrant, you can move around. When you're older, not so much. So there's a time where we have to shift through these things. We've got to change the story we live in our lives. So that's one thing. So when you're born, it's not a choice that we made. We've accepted it. We learn to accept it, and we learn to grow. And just like others, they never had that choice. Obviously, people have the choice to change their body to influence their emotions, and that is a good thing. That's not something that should be frowned upon. If someone wants to improve themselves physically, that shouldn't be frowned upon, because at the same time, if you want to improve psychologically or mentally, although you can't see it, it's still a big shift. When someone's traumatized from PTSD, they're mentally traumatized, psychologically traumatized. They're maybe 90% of who they are has changed. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it didn't exist. So not everything is what you see. Now, the day you find out why you were born, this is a very profound concept, and it comes about when you be your authentic self. So you'll never truly be your authentic self if you haven't exercised gratitude, if you haven't exercised respect for others, respect for yourself, integrity. And the reason being, when you build up these walls and you have these environmental situations where you're getting out of character because someone's this nationality or someone's this intelligence or somebody has these possessions. When you get out of character, when you get out of your true character and things affect you, what tends to happen is it distracts you from your authentic self. It distracts you from observing the world the way it's meant to be observed, from a non-judgemental point of view, so you can take the richness of the world. You're taking off the spectacles of your expectations of the world. You're not limiting everything you see to your eyes, your traditions, your beliefs, your values, your identity. You don't have to accept everything you see. A strong person sees everything and takes the richness of what they see. A weak person blocks the world and only turns to things that make him comfortable. It doesn't allow room for growth, doesn't allow room for prosperity. So that why you were born is this ever-changing dynamic meaning that only we can create with our authentic self. Because as long as we're chasing this external factors of fulfillment, these dopamine rush, things on the internet that highly stimulate you, food, whatever, they're going to give you a dopamine hit so big that you don't even see the beauty in the simple things in life. And some people aren't interested in the simple things in life, but there are so many things in life that you can see at a very simple level that can give you so much more richness and so much more meaning than this eccentric flood of dopamine that you'd get from, say, social media on a consistent basis. And when you get bored, you want to level up and you want to get more of it and more of it and more of it. And the more you get, the more synthetic stimulation you're getting. So, it could be, I was talking about this in the other video, where you get into a rabbit hole of being on social media. You get so tired from looking at everything outside of you. But then at the end of it, you think, well, what did I really get out of that? 4 hours just passed, but what did I gain from this, from living this life, from existing right now. And it's not about every moment being like this, but from time to time, if you're procrastinating about your goals, this is valuable time where you can act on them. Don't beat yourself up later, because every moment counts. So this is only for those people who feel like they don't have enough time, and they feel like a lot of time is getting wasted, and they're not managing and tracking their time. The reason why you are here will never be something outside of you. The main reason will never be outside of you. The reason is always within you. These external things are just stimulus to activate certain responses within you. And if you don't allow those responses within you, you can't build who you are. You can't extend who you are. You don't have that tension in space that I talked about in the last video to grow yourself. And that's where internal growth comes from. And it's extremely important that we look inwards. If you're not faithful, that's okay. If you're not spiritual, that's okay. You can still look inwards. You have thoughts. You have an identity. What is your story? Are you working on your story? Are you refining it? Are you carving it? Are you creating a masterpiece? That's the reality of this. It's not about being boxed or labeled or living behind this facade or ego. It's about truly living out the richness of your life on your terms. And you can only do that when you're authentic and you enable the richness of life to enter you, and use your body as the filter and take what makes you not only feel good, but also is rationally good for you and works with your moral compass and ethics. So I just thought I'd give you this message. It's a very powerful quote, and that's my perspective on it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, like, subscribe, and share. If you think someone needs this message, please pass it on to them. And thank you very much. See you in the next one.